And welcome everybody to Xbox Ultimate Podcast, episode number 202. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday night. And we got some cool surprise news tonight with Halo. So that's kind of what we're leading with. But also, we got a lot of other things to talk about as well within the gaming world. More Ubisoft news keeps happening every day with the spinning out of control kind of turmoil that it seems like that studio's in. Also, hey, surprise, surprise, jrpgs can sell on Xbox. Who the fuck would have thought? I don't know. I guess not none of us. Well, maybe we did. Maybe we did. But there's a lot in the Xbox community, and it was a lot of community leaders and podcasters and stuff that said that these things don't matter. That who cares? The Xbox gamers don't like these kind of games. But we'll have some fun talking about that as well, and some more stuff. But I want to thank everybody in the chat. Yeah, we do have a little bit of a new look. We got I don't know if you guys saw, but also on the actual YouTube page, a little bit of there's some new banners and the kind of a new theme for the channel. And Kate's been working on a lot of that stuff for us. And shout out to her because everything's amazing as usual. And super appreciate all the stuff that she does for us. But want to get to the amazing panel that is here as always. And we are an hour earlier than usual as well. So thank you guys for showing up, and also to the panel for showing up, even though it's an hour earlier. But let's say hello. Fuzzy is joining us from location. It seems like it's a ongoing theme now. Like, where in the world is Fuzzy Belvedere today? What's going on, Fuzz?
What's going on, everybody? Out here in Baltimore, Maryland, at Monster Mania 60. It's a horror con. It's kind of like the Screamcast reunion, but man, glad to be here with the family. A lot to talk about. A little bit of Shattered Space, as well as like what Mav said, JRPGs selling on Xbox. But man, can't wait to get into these topics. So much to talk about. Yeah, it's gonna be a good evening.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's some fun stuff to talk about today. There's still this weird negativity constantly going on online regarding Xbox. Constantly, it seems like for some reason they just can't shake it no matter what. But like ultimately, I think a lot of us have been having a lot of fun. So this will be kind of a different. If you've been watching other podcasts where it's like people just keep talking about the same stuff, this is a show where you're probably going to hear different stuff than you're used to seeing from a lot of the shows out there. So this is because it's actually how we feel too. So it's an interesting world that we live in, where our views can be so different than a lot of others, but it is what it is, right? 3-bit, how are you doing, man?
Had a chance to game a bit today, which is pretty cool. I'm still kind of working right now, technically, but restarted my playthrough of Starfield. I think I was level, I don't know, like 60 or something, and then I was like, I want to restart my character. So I restarted my character. This was a while ago. I restarted my character. And DLC popped up, a couple things popped up, and I'm just getting destroyed in certain missions, but it's mostly my fault. Like I just had a mission with the UC where they're like, hey, go betray the pirates, essentially. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that, and started a whole out war with the UC. It's not going well for me, I will say. So, but honestly, I've been having such a blast with Starfield the past few days. Man, it's like it's bringing me back to how I felt when I played Skyrim, where I just get lost and I'm just just trying things. Mission tells me to do one thing, I do the complete opposite. I'll go out and just scavenge and try and steal stuff in a mission, and I don't know. I'm having a blast with it. So I take I'm taking a little bit of break from RoboCop, which is weird because I'm at the very end of RoboCop. Like I'm sure if I play for like 20 minutes,
a good time to take a break from a game. You're about to beat it. Hey, I'll just go back to this a couple months later.
I just like I was gonna beat RoboCop first, but like I kept seeing like clips and pictures. I seen like Pong's pictures of Starfield. Like, man, all right, I want to jump in just for a little bit. Now it's too late. Now I'm sucked in.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about the Halo stuff in a little bit.
I'm back to start playing. Yeah, it's been good, man. Good week.
Nice, love it, man. Then we got the one and only Pong Soul. We had a fun 3-hour show last night and covered a lot of stuff, and then more news today. So why not have another show Friday nights like we usually do? But how you doing, Pong?
Doing good, brother. Great to be here. Great to obviously get to talk to Fuzzy and 3-Bit as well. It's rare, and I get to take some time off tonight. You guys can go ahead and talk about Halo for a couple hours. It'll be sweet. But no. News keeps flying around again. Hate for Starfield's back on the plate, boys. So again, this is where we're at. So we're going to continue to do that. I see people complaining about Tencent potentially buying Ubisoft. As long as the Guillemot family leaves, which I know isn't all the rumors, there are rumors that they're actually going to take it private with Tencent.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how anybody at this point can complain about even Tencent owning Ubisoft at this point. Really, does it fucking matter at this point? Like, honestly, what the Guillemot family has done, what Yves and that leadership team has done, I really don't think it matters who owns it except for them. And so I just want to see them clean house. Now, again, some of the rumors are that they're going to be still owning it. And they're just going to take it private with Tencent. So that would make a difference. That's going to be the same old BS at the end of the day. But we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, man, otherwise, I talked about Aura a ton last night, obviously on PM and the PM. Absolutely, that's been my game to go along with Age of Mythology. I've not jumped into Shattered Space yet because, like 3-Bit said, now he is sucked back into that world. That's what's going to happen to me when I do fully jump back into Starfield with both feet. So I have not jumped back into Shattered Space. I got to figure out when I'm going to do that. I don't honestly know when I'm going to do that. I can't decide because there's so much to play right now. I got Aura. I put Frostpunk 2 on the back burner, which I want to get back to because Aura is just so freaking fantastic. And then I've also got Kill Knight, and I played some more Kill Knight. I got home a little bit early, got to put another about 30 minutes into Kill Knight. And of course, I pop on. I see Steele's already got almost 10 hours on Kill Knight, and he increased his score ahead of me even more. Oh my God. My longest run is like over 4 minutes, like 4 minutes, 17 seconds. His longest run is like 6.5 minutes. I'm just like, Jesus, man. This is when you start comparing yourself to the younger generation that still has that hand-to-eye coordination. But Kill Knight, as I said last night, why I brought it up is everybody in the chat. It's on everything. Xbox, PlayStation. I think it might even be on Switch. I don't remember. It's on PC. $15. You can waste $15 in a lot of different ways. Kill Knight is worth every single penny. If you like shmups, if you want a challenge, if you want something that's a little bit deeper than a straight up shooter shmup, because you have melee, you have ranged weapons, you have moves that you can actually do, and you got parries at points against certain enemies, and then they've got different weapons available that you can upgrade to as you open them up. If you like anything to do with any of that in a cool ass setting in which you are a knight traveling basically through the levels of hell, go pick up Kill Knight. It's worth $15. It is freaking awesome. It is easy to pick up. It's one of those games, easy to pick up, but very difficult to master. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and do the tutorial. I was actually playing around tonight though, and I actually went through a bunch of runs where I was just using my melee and my secondary weapon only to see how far I could get. And that actually helped me because my last run right before I jumped on here was actually my best run after that, where I used everything. But it's those types of games where you can kind of train yourself and kind of learn. it's a beautiful thing, man. So go check out Kill Knight for sure. $15. Go grab it. It's worth it.
I actually played a little bit of Kill Knight earlier today.
you?
Also,
Did you? You picked it up? Nice.
Yeah, I did the tutorials, all of the tutorials. Then I started it, and I did like 1 or 2 like quick runs or whatever, and I can already tell this is going to be like a new addiction, because it's one of those games that you can like just pick up and play for a little bit, put it down, come back, play for a little bit later when you have some time. And I love games like that. They kind of are that, one a little snack, but like it's a challenging snack. It's for damn sure as well. So mechanics are good. The music, dude.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like it has that like 80s kind of punk, like digital
retro electronica.
Yeah. I don't know what to call it. Right. But it's like
electronica rock. It's
I was like, yes, I love this. Something you'd hear in like a old, like, cyberpunk style movie or something like that, it was absolutely badass too. So yeah, digging that. I don't have enough to play time to really give a whole lot of thoughts on it yet. But you mentioned another game, Aura, which we sat and talked about Aura for I feel like like 30 minutes last night at least, because we've been both addicted to that game. And it's one of these games that like it's on PC only right now. I think later they're hopefully going to work on a
next year
console version. Supposedly. But it's one that's not getting as much attention from like the Xbox community as if it was like a console launch. A bit honestly, even if it launched day and date on console, I don't think a lot of the Xbox community would probably be even talking about it, because
nobody talks about Age of Mythology except for us.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that was going to be my point. Like, and that's another game we've been loving is Age of Mythology Retold. And it's like kind of, I think some of these games and some of the things that Xbox has done this generation, and especially this past year or so, is like, I think one of the reasons why we kind of maybe have a different outlook on things, because I really feel like, and which is going to go into the conversation we have later about JRPGs, where a lot of people said that these kinds of games just don't matter. They don't count. They don't matter. They don't count. Nobody cares about those kind of games and stuff. And I honestly feel like there's a good portion of people that are like in the Xbox community, or that are podcasters or very vocal and stuff, where they're only looking for specific kinds of games, right? And the fact that those kinds of games have been fewer and far between are the reason they have this kind of like doomsday outlook on the scenario, where we're like sitting there like playing all this shit. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Like look at all these kinds of games that are for us that we've been craving and have missed out on for so long. And now we're actually getting some of these games on console day and date. We're getting now more JRPGs coming to Xbox, which is something that a lot of us like on this channel. And we're having that, and not only are we having them, but we're having them with extra features like cross-buy on Xbox that other platforms aren't getting. Xbox is now doing marketing rights on those kinds of games as well, like with several different partners.
Why
would
they do it? Why? It's such a waste.
But like
now nobody knows these games are going to be on PlayStation. Oh my! They don't buy them on Xbox. Why would they waste their time giving Xbox marketing rights? God, Atlas
it's just
stupid.
It's just funny because like you don't see the people celebrating these things that you would have figured said that Xbox needed to be more aggressive. Xbox needs to do this. Xbox needs to do that.
They just can't win
years
in
years
scenario. So they should just do what they need to do. I really am glad that they're starting to invest more in Japan. My been like stop with the half toe in the water. Like you kind of are trying a Final Fantasy, then the next one you're not, and the fans kind of felt that in a way. So like in terms of gamers investing in your franchises, and I feel like a lot of Xbox fans would love to dive into Final Fantasy games and things like that. But the fact that Square Enix has been so much intertwined within the Sony ecosystem. It's just been like, are they really third party? Are they not? Et cetera, like with how they're treating their games. So yeah, it's like, it's cool to me to start seeing Atlas games on Xbox. I remember we had shows about that where we're like,
3-bits internet.
yeah,
is
Atlas just like
not
hates
working.
Xbox. Like there's no.
Yeah, you're good now. Yeah, you were frozen for like half a second. but
Sorry,
you're
I'm
back.
uploading a bunch of videos right now, so it may be.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. Doing for a commercial shoot tomorrow, uploading a bunch of stuff. I just remember we had a thought that Atlas games were never really coming to Xbox, or because of the sentiment. They're like, oh, they probably hate Xbox, et cetera, et cetera. But now they're putting everything on Xbox. So I will give credit to Phil and the team over there for starting to put more investments within third-party places like Atlas, Sega, and Square Enix, starting to come over more to Xbox. So it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, there was several shows I would listen to back in the day, and I would just hear them say, nobody wants those games here. They don't matter. Why even bother that? Why do they even bother even trying? They're wasting their time and stuff. And I would always listen to these other shows or like Xbox shows and stuff. And I'm like, don't say that. I don't want them to hear you. I thank God that they didn't listen. Right? Thank God that they didn't listen to a lot of those people and stuff.
Those
And
were
now
people who did not like Eastern games, though.
Right.
And that's the problem.
But
like everybody thinks that's how it should be run. Like, only bring the stuff that I like. Like, bro, what? No, that's not how you run a game company. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
yeah. Sorry. No, yeah, it's exactly.
I couldn't
it's
stand
like
it either.
You got to cast a wide net because there's a lot of us that like all different kinds of genres, but like some of these genres don't get championed as much as others. And I honestly kind of feel like there's some in the Xbox community and some of those that actually just want the PlayStation kind of games coming to on Xbox. Mm-hmm. And it actually seems like would actually be a win for them. But like for me, it's like, if that's what you like, then there's a platform that has those games. If that's what you're into, then why are you always, for years and years, been saying how awesome Xbox still is and how these things are great and stuff, and then that things get better and better as far as the amount of games that we're getting and more variety and less. People keep talking right now also about, hey, there's so many games skipping Xbox, but like for me, I look at this generation compared to before, less big games, especially these kind of games, are skipping Xbox than ever before. I mean, look at all the Atlas games that we have that hit Xbox. Look at the Square games now are coming to Xbox. Look at the whole Yakuza series ended up coming to Xbox. And we have all these different things. And it's like, if we actually go back and look at things and compare it to where we were back before Phil took over, or back even at the start of this generation, compared to what they've done now, I'm like, well, I'm in a better position as a gamer than I was then if I'm in the Xbox ecosystem looking forward to games, right? Unless you only want one specific kind of game, right? So
yeah. If we're looking at RPGs, like Xbox is pretty much, I made this post somewhere, Xbox is pretty much the king of RPGs, and it's probably the king of FPS games too. You think about which RPG studios they own pretty much like the ones that intertwine a lot of DNA with like games like, for example, I don't know, you got Outer Worlds, Starfield, the Skyrim series. Like, if you think about what Bethesda has done to influence modern day games, they have the studios, ID Software as well, for FPS games. You know, one of the first really relevant first-person shooters being Wolfenstein and Doom. They own those studios. So, like, if you're not really into, I guess, FPS games or RPGs, then I sure. But for me, Xbox has a good I guess library of RPGs and first-person shooters, and are starting to make investments in other places as well. Like the third, I guess the third person action adventure is where they've been lacking. So if that's something you are more interested in, then sure, be the way. They're interested in primarily that, but I don't know. I've always been into RPGs, first-person shooters, and things like that. In that regard, but a lot of people,
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of podcasts lately, a lot of sort of toxic ones be like, oh, Xbox, they have no games in the pipeline and nothing I'm interested in. And I'm like, well, I guess it's just not the games you're interested in. Because for me, there's too many games for me to play right now. And it's kind of ridiculous. So
it's kind of weird, man. But Fuzzy, part of the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's actually been, is it proven now that JRPGs will sell well on Xbox? Because the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are actually selling really well, apparently, in several different markets after the TGS shadow drop of those games, and those aren't in Game Pass or anything. Also, like, you actually have to buy those ones and stuff like that. So, what do you make of kind of the actual success now of these games coming?
Well, this is going to probably sound like a silly saying, but you can't sell something that's not available. And for years, people used to chant, well, they don't sell well on Xbox. Well, that was because they weren't on Xbox. So now they're actually on Xbox. People are finding a home for them. So the fact that they're on the platform, if you're not a fan of those style games, that's fine. There's still plenty of other style games that you may be a fan of. So if you're still just a first person or third person shooter type of person, or maybe you're an arcade or sim type racer person, there's still those as well. If you're just an RPG fan, there's still those. We might be lacking a little on our own platformers. They're spaced out a bit as far as like releases. So Psychonauts, you might have to wait for like a Psychonauts 3 for a little bit, but outside of those types of things, there's something for everyone. And having these JRPGs, having, this resurgence between like Sega giving us the Yakuza series and seeing how well it's done, even with the experiments of having some of them in Game Pass. Same thing with Persona for Atlas. Like, if you talk to anybody in the gaming space, journalists or just enthusiasts in general, people were dead set on Persona never coming to Xbox. That was like, oh, that day will never happen type of thing, like when pigs fly type of deal. And we see how well it's doing. So you just have to give things an opportunity, or at least put it in front of the audience and see how well they take to it. Sometimes it helps having those things in Game Pass. That, I think, really helped the Yakuza series, getting that attention or bringing that attention to that series, or introducing it to a fan base that hasn't gotten a chance to play it, and it paid off for them. Same thing with Persona. And when it comes to the Pixel remasters, I think there are a good bit of original Final Fantasy fans on the platform. It's just that for whatever reason, things may have changed. They moved away from PlayStation, yesteryears or whatever, and they were mainly an Xbox fan for, let's say, Halo or for Forza. But now they get to play some of those games that they remember from, either their childhood or early days, early teens or early 20s or whatever. And now they can relive those back on that platform. So being in the top 12, within the first few weeks is pretty damn good for something that's not typically on that platform. So it's a good sign. I hope they, like between Sarah and Phil, they continue to do this. And, I guess the big thing I've noticed is that over like what you were saying from the beginning of this generation, or even considering last generation, we used to talk about like 10s or 20 games skipping the platform for whatever reason. And there's only so far been two misses, but one from that region, and that being Black Myth Wukong. But that one, I think that had some backdoor deals go on to kind of make that happen, which, I mean, in all honesty, that probably happened on a handful of other previous generation skips. But that one was a more notable one, I think, just because of the buzz around that game. But they're doing a much better job getting these devs into the platform, and they're even running that survey thing, asking devs, well, what were the reasons for you not being on the platform? And it looks like they're going to have their engineering team work with some of those devs that might have difficulties as far as for programming for the Series S or being unfamiliar with the toolkit. That was the biggest thing, like with Baldur's Gate 3, even though totally different region, but they were able to get more of an uplift after, finding out how to tune it for the Series S, and it actually helped all platforms. But having people always talk about, oh, well, those games don't sell. Well, that was the case in the past where they weren't available. Now they obviously sell, and we'll see how well things continue as the catalog gets bigger.
Yeah, man. For me, it's been the interesting thing this generation, because more so than usual, I've just noticed how much this like kind of perception and conversations have become like a false reality, right? Because of the amount of conversation that's happening at a lot of these things, right? Like regarding the Series S is to blame for everything, or like more games are skipping Xbox than ever before, or like Xbox isn't being aggressive and getting different kinds of games on their platform. Like there's like a lot of these conversations about this kind of stuff, and it's like people are kind of putting them in this situation where they think like Xbox is given up and they just moved on. They're just like just kind of existing and just giving us what they can and just whatever. But then we see the actual reality of what is actually taking place. You see Metaphor actually with marketing rights, an Atlas, next big IP for Atlas, actually launching day and date on Xbox, but with the marketing and also with cross-buy functionality between Xbox consoles and PC. You see the Square Enix a partnership starting to develop there, where they actually also have marketing rights on Visions of Mana, which actually came out this year as well, right? And didn't skip Xbox at launch like every other Mana game before, right? Then you also have Final Fantasy 14, finally after years, made its way to Xbox, which was something that people have been waiting for a very long time. You had the deals also with Sega, with all the Yakuza things. And this goes back to, remember the whole, say Xbox and Sega has struck some kind of a partnership, and everybody's like, oh, it's just about cloud streaming. It's just about this super game thing or whatever. And then all of a sudden you see these games like Total War go into Game Pass on PC day and date. Then you see 2 Point Hospital go into a Game Pass day and date. And then you see Yakuza games keep either going into Game Pass or getting either marketing on Xbox, or also finally making their way to Xbox after all these years. And you have Game Pass deals for things like Persona 5 Tactica, Persona 3, and then the extra content for that. You can just go on and on and on and on about these things, right? And that's the reality of what's actually been taking place, because these things actually exist. These things actually happened. These are games that we can all go play now on Xbox, and they're available, some of them via Game Pass or not. And it's like they don't get any actual credit for doing this. Instead, the focus is still on, hey, you know what? Like so many games still keep missing Xbox. Well, like for me, there's more games that I care about that are coming to Xbox that skipped Xbox before, right? And my situation as a gamer, going from the beginning of this generation, even especially last generation, comparing it to last, right? When a lot of these people in the community were championing Xbox, saying everything's great, we have games, we have plenty of games, all this stuff. We didn't have Atlas games. Most of all the Square games were skipping, right? You had Yakuza wasn't here, also, right? Capcom was even skipping. You had like games like Street Fighter not even coming to Xbox. Now, guess what? We just got a brand new Capcom IP dropped in Game Pass day and date. Another Japanese game, right? But they don't count. They don't matter. It's people do not even talk about these games. You have strategy games hitting, which PlayStation has none of, really, especially from first party. You have them actually dropping in Game Pass and on PC also, and on console, some of them day and date as well. Numerous entries into the genre. And then now we have tons of other games to look forward to still this year, and on top of the expansions that we're getting for the ongoing games. And we're in dismay. We're in dismay on Xbox. The things are so bad. You know, this has been, people are giving up on it. It's like the worst it's ever been. It's the conversation that it's out there. And I'm just like, what is this false reality that people are living in that I just don't understand really whatsoever. And you see clips of it, you see people talking about it. If somebody makes a comment on Twitter praising something about Xbox or whatever, and you just see nothing but like, yeah, it's like the whole Xbox has no games thing is still there and all this shit. And it's like, man, I honestly don't understand what people want anymore. Because if you actually just do a direct comparison to the amount of games and the games in the development and what we get, and the fact that Game Pass exists and we have all those games dropping day and date, and the Game Pass also from first party, they went and actually got ABK, and they went and got ZeniMax Bethesda, and they have all these other things coming, and we have all this stuff. We have all these things in the works. We even got games like Blade that was announced. We got Indiana Jones coming this year. All of these things. We didn't have any of that to look forward to last generation. And you actually do a direct comparison over where Xbox is today and what they're delivering to us as the gamers compared to then. It is like, there's such a stark contrast. It's fucking mind blowing. But to some out there, it's the worst it's ever been. And it's a false reality that I don't understand it. But it's the conversation that people have been having. It's what people have been saying, and you know what? Perception becomes reality, man. And it's just kind of weird, dude. But hell, I'm enjoying my time on Xbox.
I just feel like a lot of people out there, their identity is tied to the console, to the point where what used to be on the internet for a while it's pretty funny. What has been relevant for them for a while is, I'm going to compare Xbox games to PlayStation games via first party, via like basically the whole console war. Like, it doesn't matter what is happening here and there. Where I judge things is like, what is the value proposition? Like, what am I getting for my dollar? I find that PlayStation tends to charge me a lot more for very small things, which is why I'm on Xbox, because I tend to get better deals on several games. And Mav, you made good points. A lot of games are coming to the platform. Things that people are not mentioning, or either forgetting about, or maybe it's just not their cup of tea. But Xbox has been making a lot of investments of just compare the amount of games that are coming from Game Pass to PSN, like per month. And you'll find that Xbox is killing it, to the point where I don't even know what to play anymore. Sorry, I'm laughing at this chat. What's going on here? But yeah, I don't know. I think Xbox is absolutely killing it. I'm following that. Everyone's wearing all. You know, I was actually wearing a white shirt before this.
Did you change after we're done with the party?
Yeah, I changed. At the
I mean, Fuzzy went to the hotel and he's like chilling now. You know, I know you took an early flight back home and stuff, right? But like, I guess it changed in the meantime.
Yeah. And we just got Pong needs to be in the white shirt. That's it.
You see who's not a part of this. That's flat out. No Diddy here. You guys go right ahead.
There, I'm not wearing all white anymore.
Oh, that's all it took.
Yeah, I just gotta flip my hat around.
Oh man. Oh man, I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore.
I would have been really crazy if we actually all ended up showing up in all white, like,
Like,
just mistakenly, right? Like not even realizing.
It was pretty close.
Oh shit. Um.
Oh, man,
By the
I got
way,
distracted.
that DM you sent, that picture you sent earlier today, Pong, had me dying. And
Oh my god, it just caught me off guard, bro. I was like, because it's so stupid, but
Yeah.
just the last night was crazy.
Is
I
that a
was
real
like,
picture?
I have no
I
idea.
thought-
But
I saw
like
the
you
last
can't
night was
be.
crazy, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
It looks real. I couldn't tell.
It
though.
looks like a real
Yeah,
picture,
It
man.
does, but obviously nowadays everybody can do. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's possible they were all together somewhere. It is, but it was classic.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing at work. Jesus,
Anyway,
poor
yeah,
Steve.
but I am curious how Metaphor is going to do. I think it's going to do well on Xbox. I mean, people, the hype and the feedback about the demo is very, very positive already as well. So
Yeah, I hope it does really well. But what I thought was interesting, like, so Space Marine 2, I just thought this is something Pong, I think, actually mentioned in the DMs. We were looking at the top 20 games that, the best-selling games of the month. I believe this was maybe last month.
It was Mav. It was Mav that said something.
yeah, so Matt
Yeah.
Piscatella has done his like report that he usually does, and it kind of goes over like playtime and
Most played games.
most played games on each platform and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, everywhere Space Marine 2 is like really high, but it didn't even make the top. It didn't even make the list on PlayStation, which
I
kinda
find
weird.
was very weird and but interesting. Because like PlayStation is the most popular platform, but you never really know. That's why I feel like a lot of publishers should look at stuff like that and be like, well, your audience, depending on the type of game you're releasing, could do very well on other platforms, and sometimes just releasing to PlayStation can damage your potential sales, which Square Enix has been doing for so long. And I feel like they're finally realizing that short-term investment of getting all that money is like, yeah, it's cool in the short run, you get a lot of money, but it could be damaging down the line. Because Space Marine 2, that's a game that just came out, a lot of people loved it, and it sold most likely better on the Xbox as of today's date. And a lot of people on Xbox love shooters and stuff like that, so that could contribute to it. Xbox is the shooter platform in a lot of ways, so if you are making a shooter, you should probably put it on Xbox. But for the most part, that is an example of something that could happen when you are a publisher. You're releasing a game on multiple platforms. Hey, you never know. You never know the success of what things could do.
Yeah, 100%, man. So somebody in the chat said that you can't, or actually it was Brett sent it to me in the DMs. Did they remove the ability to buy Horizon Zero Dawn, the original from?
They upped the price of the original game, and I don't think they stopped that from, unless that's recent. But from what I knew, that since they knew they were releasing, they upped the price of the original game.
Yeah, they upped the price, but it did. This is for PC 3-bit. So
okay.
So on
I'm in on
PC.
PC. Yeah.
On PC, because obviously they said that the free upgrade, or the $10 upgrade, I should say, was available for PC owners as well. So it makes sense that Sony would do this. Like, this is their MO. Like, this is what they do. Let me see for a second here.
I went to the page. I already owned the game on there because I bought it for like less than $10 or whatever when it was on sale.
Yeah,
but like I don't see an option to like buy it as a gift or anything. Like, so I was just curious. So they actually they upped the price already, right? But then if they actually did that above and beyond, like it's kind of, I mean, maybe if it's the same price, as the remaster, they want people not to buy it. I don't know. It's strange.
I think they even took it out of PS Plus like a month or so ago as well.
They did.
Kind of like what they did with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Let me check to see if I can buy it.
So they're just replacing the game with this,
So weird.
in a sense, on PC at least. Like if you can't buy it, they removed it from Epic Game Store. Alvin says.
They have both of them on there, but they're all $49.99 now. So you have Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition.
Yes.
You have Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, also at the $49.99, and then you have the remastered bundle, also at $49.99.
And basically on Steam, when you click into it, it forces you into the bundle.
Okay.
So when you click into it, yeah, you have to buy the bundle at $49.99.
What?
Yeah.
Great job, Sony.
Wow.
Well, if anybody's looking
like
for it on
this-
PC, you could still go to the key shops. I just checked GG deals. You can still go to the key shops right now and get it for $10 if you want to buy the original version. So there is that.
I mean,
on
that's
my
the way to
Xbox.
go if you want the remaster still.
Yeah,
it's
because you get it for
cheaper to-
$10. So it's
Right.
$20 total. So buy it from a key shop for $10 and then $10 for the upgrade.
Yeah, sorry to sidetrack. I got
Yeah,
that
no.
DM and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, is that real?
Yeah.
You know? But anyway,
Makes
yeah, that's
sense.
crazy, man.
Sony
Yeah.
doing Sony things.
But then nobody talks about it. Imagine if Xbox did that, dude. Like,
Bro,
it's
It's crazy.
No, it
like
would
imagine
be
if
everywhere.
right now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to remaster Hellblade 2. And what I'm gonna do is the old game, I'm gonna up the price on, make it a little bit harder to buy in that case, and then I'm gonna change the color a little bit, make this is like so crazy. You're not seeing a lot of articles about stuff like this, and on Till Dawn, I've seen like some performance stuff for that. Yeah, that game is barely running 30 frames, and the new one, which it looks great on PS4, is running at 60. So, is it really a remaster remake? If you're, I don't know. It's just different stuff that bothers me. It's mostly corporate stuff. Always bothers me when you start to up the price for different stuff. They just don't care anymore. How much money can I get out of somebody? I don't see anybody talking about it, and it's crazy to see that and then just be like, Xbox, screw Xbox, But it might just be me.
right on. Hey, we're actually co-streaming on Twitch now. We never have
Oh, we're on
anybody
Twitch
ever
right
watch on Twitch. Yeah, we're on Twitch. And shout out to Zick Namus. Appreciate you being here. Says, hey man, really having a good time watching your stream. Like to be part of the community and stay updated with your schedule. If you don't mind adding me on Discord, my username is good Matty C. Right on, dude. Hey, I put a link on YouTube. There's a link to the Discord already. So I don't know if you hop over onto the YouTube chat, but I'll see if I can't drop it into the Twitch chat also. But shout out to you and thanks for watching. Usually we've been mainly a YouTube community show, but I've been doing this new thing with Restream and stuff, and we're going to be streaming to Twitch going forward as well. So appreciate you. Yeah, man, it's been crazy just to see all this dialogue though going back and forth. Meanwhile, you have like atrocious things like that we just mentioned with the Horizon thing, and it's like anti-consumer. And meanwhile, like something like Metaphor, we're getting cross-buy on, and it's like, hey, yeah, cool, it has cross-buy. Nobody's like, hey, but that you get it on PC and Xbox for only have to buy it once, right? I love that. I champion all publishers to do this. It's something that I hate having to make that decision. Like, do I buy it on PC? Do I buy it on Xbox? And there's a lot of that I end up having to make that decision on. And I love when the developers, publishers actually take part of the Xbox ecosystem and actually give us that value. And it's not just Atlas that's doing it. It's also, I think it was Square that's doing it with the HD 2D remaster for Dragon Quest. Is that the one as well?
Which I think the Pixel Remaster is even doing it as well, I believe.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's a Play Anywhere.
I mean, does that kind of tell you like what kind of relationship they're building with Xbox? I mean, because there's a lot of publishers that release their games on Xbox, they don't do that, right? They just drop it and then they drop the PC version. They're even with marketing deals and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like this is kind of above and beyond, and that leads me to believe there's an ultra aggressiveness going on behind the scenes between Phil, Sarah Bond, and other people at Xbox with these developers and these publishers, trying to get things righted. And I wouldn't be. I'm curious how much money has been handed over to make these things happen. Right? It's like, hey, we understand you're trying to build an audience over there that you feel like you may not have, but I think your games can be successful. You just need to foster that community. Bring them over here. We're going to give you marketing deals. You're not going to have to take your games off of PlayStation. You're still going to be able to launch them there day and date as well. Maybe we'll do some of your games in Game Pass also and get a community excited. And that way, the next time you sell a game, there'll be even more fans for it. Just kind of makes too much damn sense, right? As opposed to taking other money that would actually make it to where they can't release the games on other platforms, right? That's what they used to do. And that's what the new president, I remember when the old president from Square got kind of kicked out. And the new leadership there saying, hey, we need to do things differently. And since then is when all this kind of started happening. So I'm super happy about that. I'm loving seeing the traction that these games are getting and the audiences finding their jrpg games finally here on the console. But we also got some other interesting news today. Halo. Surprise, surprise. This is something that we actually had conversations about this before. I think actually with maybe Steele was part of it originally, when we were talking to him. Surprise today that there's third person mode coming to Halo Infinite. And dude, the trailer looked pretty damn awesome, I have to say. I was not anticipating it to look that good. We've already seen mods of other Halo games that have had third-party or third-person modes on PC before, but this is the first time they're going all in and they're giving us a third-person Halo mode. And on top of that, also the Hell Jumpers mode, which is being created by a Forge team that a lot of people in the community are excited for. That's meant to be kind of like Helldivers. It's also going to have a third-person added to it as well after it launches. So, man, Halo might have a little bit of a interesting resurgence here for a little bit of time, at least, with people checking out the third-person mode. But you're the number one Halo person here, 3-Bit. So, did you see this yet? Did you see the video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What did you think?
It looks sick, man. I like I remember seeing mods for a third-person Halo in the campaign, and thinking like, man, that would be kind of cool if they made a mode out of that. And it seems like they're finally doing it. I do wonder which modes you'll be able to do the third person in. Like, is it only like oh, you opt into third person and it's like a variety of maps? And I don't know how it's gonna work yet, but overall I'm ecstatic for it. I do wonder how that ripples into Forge mode. Can we start to make custom games with third person stuff? Can we eventually opt in to do it for campaign as well? This also just seems like them testing possibly for what they're going to do in the future with Halo, possibly. Maybe Halo RPG in the future. I'm hoping to have different genres within the Halo franchise. I've seen some people weren't happy about it, like, hey, keep Halo first person and things like that. But listen, I'm always down for something different with the Halo franchise. Like, I've never been the stickler of like, hey, keep Halo. I've always just wanted them to adapt what's already there and try different things. It's like you can essentially make Halo into a bigger franchise like Star Wars. And this it seems like a good test. I'm really excited to just jump in with you guys or person matchmaking. I don't know. I was ecstatic at first. So I thought it was fake when I first saw the post. I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
third person. It was real. So I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, it looked pretty solid, man. Like they're showing the slide, the mechanics looked good, right?
Yeah,
It didn't look like it wasn't meant to be third person. It looked like they
I
put a
wonder
lot of
how
work into this.
like when you're I seen like you have the third person mode when you're like sprinting and running around and all that looks solid. I wonder if it's weird because there's certain guns where it still goes in first person, like it like zooms in with like the BR and things like that, but
Yeah.
it might still feel fine because I know some third person games where it still does that. So I don't know, looks fun. It looks like they obviously built the game to have it so the third person animations work in different viewpoints. So I'm glad they did that in the engine. You know, that wouldn't work for every single game. So pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Check it out.
We got a $2 super chat from Alvin. Shout out to Alvin. It says 343 getting Halo ready for PlayStation perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think there's something to that? Like, because we've speculated maybe next year. It wouldn't surprise us if they actually put Halo over on PlayStation. I don't know if they will or not, but
That would be
like
fun.
that third person games, right? Third person action games. Pong, a casual Halo fan.
Cool.
Will you try it
Yeah.
at least?
No.
Will you try it? No.
Why would I download it? I have no interest. I got so many games to play. You think I'm going to download it just to try third person?
For
Yeah.
me, man. Just for me.
No, not for you, not for Steel, not for any. You guys all have each other. You guys go play some freaking Halo. You're gonna have a great time. That's cool. I had my Halo time. It's done, so it's fine. No, I think it's awesome, and I saw that the Hell Jumpers mods to 3-bits announced, hey, since it's out there, we're also going to have a third person view. So it sounds like it is going to be a part of the Forge mode if those guys have it in their Helldivers version of Halo, which I hope takes off. I hope that's really dope. I hope that turns out to be great. But yeah, we'll see. But no, I think it's awesome because again, people like Steel have been clamoring for this, and talked about it from the beginning. Steel said that this is what they should have done from the beginning to draw more people in. You can't do everything. We've talked about this. You got to make the Halo that you're going to make, but also there are some things that you got to understand. If you're going to try to draw in more of an audience, there's just some things that people really enjoy, and putting in a third person, mode or version of the game does draw some of the younger crowd, especially in who have been playing a lot of third person over their, gaming careers, if you want to call it, or gaming time, versus us who grew up on a lot of first person shooters. Once that started, that's all people really made was first person shooters for a long time. That's why Gears was so fantastic when it dropped, and SOCOM was so big too. They were the rarities more so than the usual. So I just think it's a great idea. I'm glad they finally did it. It seems like it's really late. I don't know. Obviously there's been so many issues at 343 and them, basically redoing the entire studio at this point. But I would have loved to see this earlier to give more people a chance to jump in. But I think it's awesome. And I know all you guys are going to love it. I know Steele's going to love the hell out of it. So that's always awesome. I can't wait to hear his thoughts on it and how it plays. So
yeah, I'm actually curious to try the firefight mode that they have on there now with that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. What about you, Fuzz? You going to give it a go? Third person Halo?
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely give it a go. I'm not the biggest first person shooter person. That's why I like the Division more so. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a try. Like that's one of the things I was kind of hoping they would do at some point, or just kind of like somebody may mention like a Halo RPG, which if it was in third person, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think kind of like what Pong was saying, as far as expanding the audience, try a few different things, whether it's a horror version of Halo on like a ring with against the flood or something like that, or this third person mode, which we've seen how well it even did for Call of Duty for some people. So yeah, I'm glad they're giving it a try.
Yeah, right on, man. What are you saying?
Yeah, Call of Duty was one of the games I thought about. Just because historically that game was first person, and they just wanted to try a mode with third person just to test the waters. And I am glad they're doing it in a mode where, they don't have to super focus on balancing, right? Because when you open up the third person view, it can present problems in a game that is built for first person. Where people can peek around walls now. The map design built for first person, but overall, I do hope that they look at the reception, and hopefully it's positive to the point where they start adding it in modes like what Mav mentioned, like firefight. And I really want to try campaign. I remember Steel and other people would share modded videos of people just playing third person in the campaign, and it just looked, I was like, why is the animations look so good in third person already, without without them really having that third person view. But yeah, it looked good in the mods, and I'm glad they finally added it to a future update in November. So another thing to look forward to in November. So many things happening November, December in gaming. So.
Yeah. Right on, man. Jesse James said, "Is 343 even working on the next Halo yet?" Yes, they are. There was a one of the community updates that they had. I think it was early this year. They had mentioned that they're hard at work on their next big Halo thing and stuff, and they're not ready to announce anything for a while on it, but that's what the majority of them are working on now. So there's still a core team there doing updates on Halo. They changed the whole structure and how Halo Infinite is getting updated. It's no longer the typical seasons and stuff. They're doing more frequent updates, but they're smaller. And so far, that's been, I think, a better system, that because it's constantly seeming like there's something to look forward to, right? And new content coming out. And this one is a surprise, right? I didn't at this stage, right? At 343 to do this now after Infinite's been out for 3 years, right? I just didn't see a third person mode coming now. I wonder if also some of the motivation is like, I wonder if we'll sell more cosmetics, right? Because you can see your character, as opposed to just in the like pre-game screen, right?
Here's the thing,
But as long as it plays good,
yeah, as long as it plays good, I feel like it will translate pretty well. I see Buzz's comment saying like, that's why I'm not fully convinced it's going to be great. It's built for first person. Yeah, like you could say the same about Call of Duty. That it was built for third person, yet or built for first person, but they made a mode for third person, and it was received pretty well. Like some people just like playing that third person mode in Warzone. Some people really vibe with it. So it they just have to test it. The fact that it is as a mode, not implemented as an option, is why I think it can work. Because when you do things as a mode, that means everyone. What you could do in that mode is give people the option to do first and third person. So that way, if you still want to do first, you can, but it's still separated experience. Where you have the main experience where everyone's first person, but then you have one where it's more toggable. So yeah, I don't know. I it could go either way. Based on just from the people who played the modded version of that, it played really well with just a mod, with just like a camera, like changing the camera out, and it still played pretty well in just the mod. So I'm assuming with them actually going into the code, making it a little bit more polished, that it's going to play even better. So if it's better than mod, then I'm sure it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, time will tell, right? And time will tell if it's
It
how many people use it.
Yeah.
I want it in the campaign.
Yeah.
I want them to go, and I don't know if that's going to happen or if they've mentioned that or anything like that, but I think it would just be awesome if you could just on the fly playing Halo, switch to first and third person mode, right?
Yeah, I want that too. That was my first question.
That'd be amazing.
When I basically when I saw the news, I put on Twitter. I was like, awesome. What about campaign?
Right.
Stuff, so yeah.
I did notice in one of the clips they also had some first person in there, which makes me think that in the same match, some were playing in first and third.
So maybe it is like
because the whole thing was about third person, but they had a clip where somebody was in first, right? So,
well, they had the people in the third person, like when they zoom in with a weapon, it goes into first. Maybe that's what you're thinking of, or maybe I just missed it.
No, I think he was holding like a brute hammer or graphic hammer. Yeah, and he was just there in first person, and somebody was running. He's watching somebody run that was trying to grab the flag or something. I can't remember, but they were in first person, and then it switched.
You're right.
The next
I'm looking
clip
at
was another third person clip.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Yeah, maybe it's an option.
And the whole thing is like a third person trailer, so that stood out to me. Maybe it's you can switch between or what. I'm not sure it's going to work, but I didn't see the announcement 100%. I saw about it afterwards on Twitter with the Xbox account and stuff like that. So kind of caught me off guard. This just happened like in this afternoon at Halo Championship Series is going on right now, right? So you have that, and they announced it there, right? So but yeah, I just did not anticipate this whatsoever. I thought there could be some Halo news this week because of the event and stuff going on, but not that. I didn't think that whatsoever.
That because I didn't see a lot of people asking for this. Do you think this is just based on what they're possibly working on for a Halo sequel?
I think if they're implementing this now, it's probably because they're testing things out for the next game.
That's what I was thinking too. Because why now? I mean, I know the Halo event is now, but like, I didn't see like a whole bunch of people like out of all the requests for Halo Infinite, third person. I don't think anyone was really like it was at the top of their list. You know, like I'm sure a lot of people would have wanted it, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could just be testing for the next Halo, which could be really cool.
Yeah. We see that them kind of experiment with stuff like that a lot of times in games where like, you know, they're working on a big game. We know the big project, and it's like, hey, we have this existing now, so why don't we take the things we've been working on and implement it and put it in here and see how it works out, see what the reception is. You know, so it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Also, guys, we have more Ubisoft turmoil.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Ubisoft is. Geez. There was actually a little bit of cool news. There's a whole remaster potentially of Black Flag, which is weird. After we finally got Skull and Bones, and then there's surprisingly some kind of remaster for Black Flag, which is like what everybody wanted Skull and Bones to be in the first place.
Imagine they make Black Flag online all of a sudden. It's like there's
oh my god. It's like, can we try this again? So let's re-release Black Flag, and then we'll announce what we should have done. Yeah. Right? I don't know how well Skull and Bones is doing. I think it's probably at least okay, you know. But man, I can't imagine how many years they worked on it, how much that game probably cost, and how much they lost on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember seeing early concepts of that game, and it was. I don't know how much I can say about that.
If Concord cost PlayStation $500 or $400 million, how much did Skull and Bones cost Ubisoft?
2 Concords.
2 Concords.
2 Concords wide. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead, Fuzz.
I hope it wasn't that expensive, but yeah, Ubisoft is one of those companies that it seems like they get a good idea, their devs have everything laid out, and then Yves comes in and is like, how can we make more money? It's like, can we put monetization in here? How about you make loot boxes where they get nothing that they want until they spend $100? That seems to be like what their plan is on a lot of their stuff. But I don't know.
We should go back to
I
Halo.
really want to see the. I just want to see the Guillemot family go bye bye. Not permanently, just away from Ubisoft. Like part ways.
Oh,
Just,
okay. I'm glad you clarified that.
no,
The
but
Fuzzy, the hitman, the assassin.
No, but I'm pretty sure we'll get into it. But I just have my theory, and I remember Tencent was really set on that Tom Clancy license, and maybe they sink the ship to get it. So we'll see.
Yes, we'll
Yeah,
see. Someone messaged me and said, "Halo, sorry about the Halo conversation, but I love Halo and I want to talk about it just for a little bit longer." Someone messaged me and said it's not yet announced for campaign and other stuff. It's just for one game mode, with more PvP modes coming later and to Forge, stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, someone else also asked in chat somewhere. But anyways, yeah, Ubisoft is always a tricky topic for me to talk about. So these people,
you worked for Ubisoft for a little while, so
people are my translators. Yeah, work with them for a little bit. That did not like my time there for several reasons and things like that. But based on the news that is released, that has nothing to do with my employment there. I think them going private, like I don't care about them going private. I just want that leadership gone too. I remember me and Fuzzy was talking about it. Like, I didn't really consider how much of a problem they are, but when I was starting to think about, man, I wish this changed in Ubisoft, and I wish this changed in Ubisoft, and I was just going down the list of like how they think so much about making money that creative always suffers, to the point where they think so much about the strategy of something. Like, how can we take a franchise like Ghost Recon and completely strip it from strategy and make it more so like open world type experience? Like, how can we do that? And how can we take a franchise and basically monetize it is basically how they think about a lot of their IP, unfortunately. And it can go either way. Like, some of their games, like, I know a lot of people are kind of hating on Ubisoft. I am too, a little bit, but a lot of the games are good. They have a lot of solid games out there. I just dislike the direction they've been going, because they have so many amazing IP, and usually they either drive it down in a direction I don't agree with, or they just abandon it for the sake of that quick cash flow. So what I personally want for Ubisoft going forward is for that leadership to completely go away. I don't want Ufest or whatever to go public or private. I mean, I don't want them to go private. I don't want any deals with them. I would want a full takeover if possible. Or and I mentioned this in the DMs too, with Ubisoft being possibly acquired to some extent with Tencent. The first question I asked you guys as soon as we heard that news, it was earlier today, I guess, was, what does that mean for the deal they have with Microsoft? Because I remember seeing a contract a while ago. I could not for the life of me find what I read of like all the deals of Ubisoft's terms with Microsoft, because I remember like reading about it, and I was asking you guys earlier in the DMs. I'm like, what does that mean if someone buys Ubisoft theoretically, or something happens where Ubisoft is changed in terms of leadership, or it just changes as a company? Does that void the contract they have with Microsoft, or does that just sort of transfer over? I I couldn't remember. I could have swore I've seen it somewhere. I seen a couple people speculating on that, like, yeah, that makes it null and void, or I seen a lot more where it's like, no, it transfers over. Like they, whatever Ubisoft does, the new owners basically talk with Xbox about it, and I know Jez kind of breaking it down.
I remember. From what I remember, 3-bit. I think from what I remember, like Xbox is not allowed to buy Ubisoft because of this, right? But if somebody else does, then the rights basically revert back to Xbox, because like, what if PlayStation bought Ubisoft, right? Or a direct competitor in that regard, that would be like something that they couldn't allow to happen, right? So I don't know 100%, but I believe the rights revert back to the cloud.
And I see a couple
streaming.
people in the chat, like Brett Bingham brought up that Florian Mueller believes there's a change of leadership clause in there, which would make sense, right? Like if someone bought Ubisoft and like, haha, we got the Xbox, right? Like, you know, that could be bad, I guess, for Ubisoft and for Microsoft. So yeah, that's overall, that is very interesting. It's also interesting that like Tencent has just been buying up so many IPs. They're kind of allowed to get away with it because there's like a stigma against Microsoft, but not against Tencent. It's just, I understand that Xbox, so they have a little more responsibility to, I guess, the government. I just hate the government trying to like step in the gaming industry to begin with, but sure, it is beneficial in some ways. But the fact that Tencent is allowed to like get away with murder is actually insane. And Psychonauts said that's what I posted in our DMs through. Oh, I must have missed that DM. I remember I was talking about it earlier in the morning, and then I've been in and out of the chat. But yeah, overall interesting. Ubisoft, I don't like the leadership. I think someone needs to just completely take over Ubisoft. It has so many amazing IPs at Ubisoft. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think the interesting parts of this is like what happens to them structurally if they go private, because that seems more likely.
Yeah.
Like how much envision within Ubisoft with them going private, like are things going to relatively stay the same? I feel like there's going to be a major restructures because Ubisoft has a lot of employees. They have a lot of different studios. I was a part of several of them. I was technically a part of 2 different studios because I was remote. But they have so many different studios. I feel like that leads to automatic downsizing as soon as this happens. So obviously things are going to
no matter who acquires them, there's probably going to be a lot of downsizing. They're like the way the situation, as I understand it, happened was, so before, when they were already in a bad spot, the Guillermo family, and they're trying to stave off another takeover at the time. They made a deal with Tencent at the time for Tencent basically acquiring about 50% of their company, right? Not Ubisoft, but the Guillermo family company, right? And the Guillermo family company owned the majority share of Ubisoft. So that was probably like 13% or something, like, of actual Ubisoft. I think at the time, I'm not sure what the exact numbers were, but Tencent basically was like became a another Guillermo brother in a way, is the way I look at it, right? And where the Guillermo family still had the creative and the decision-making capabilities within that group, and they were also the majority stakeholder now because of Tencent's help in that sense, to remain in that position, right? So that is where Tencent got involved in the first place, right? And at the time, we were all speculating, like, it's interesting. What does this mean for the future? Because like if they continue to struggle is Tencent doing this because they smell fish in the water, right? And they're going to basically get in for this value now and then be able to take over completely at some point? Or is it a good investment and Ubisoft is going to rebound, right? Well, the opposite's happened, and Ubisoft has tanked even further because they've had a lot of game cancellations, they've had failures, they've had games that have like had a lot of development trouble, they've had their whole other turmoil in the studios with the culture issues that were never really addressed as well, and just lots of stuff going on there. And now we're in the situation where they're at a dangerously low point, right? To the point now where they are considering what, according to the newest news was, and I believe this was Jez that had reported on this with Windows Central, that they are looking at making potentially Ubisoft a private company between Tencent and the Guillemot family, and basically acquiring Ubisoft themselves or whatever, the rest of the shares to make it a private company. And then that's for me, I'm looking at, well, it's not the Guillemot family putting up that money. Probably it's Tencent, right? So at what does Tencent become the majority owner potentially of a new private company owned by also the Guillemot family, which could potentially have creative control over it? And for me, that's not a good situation with the Guillemot family still in control, because they're the ones that got them to this place in the first place, right? They're the ones that made a lot of the decisions, kind of ruined the IP, destroyed a lot of the things that we all love as gamers, based on focusing on the wrong ideas and the wrong things, and chasing the golden goose always instead of chasing great games. And now we're in this situation. Ultimately, so something's going to happen here. Something's going to happen. But will the Guillemot family find another lifeline with this to be able to stay involved? And to be fair, they built Ubisoft, right? And so there's an attachment there for sure. But at the same time, I think at some point they lost the plot here of actually what the business is intended for originally, right? And it's more than just making money. Obviously, making money is the number one reason you always have a business, but how do you make the money, right? How do you make what are the things you're making? What is the vision you have to actually produce that? And that's where they've lost the plot along the way. And we'll see what happens now. We got a couple super chats we'll get to. Then I want to get Fuzzy and Pong's thoughts on it. We got a $2 super chat from Treybone earlier, talking about ponies will say Halo's going third person because it's going to PlayStation Watch. Alvin already said that. It was Alvin who already said that originally in the chat, jokingly. But it's funny. Probably we'll see some more of that going around on Twitter. And then also J-Mac with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, J-Mac. Says, just that heads up to the community. Go ahead and get mad now, because there will be some job loss if Ubisoft is acquired. #fake rage. There will be whoever acquires Ubisoft. And I have my dream scenario I'll go into in a little bit after we get these thoughts. But there will be layoffs no matter who acquires them.
Yeah.
Even if they go private, probably all this stuff. Yeah, it's a bad situation. Hey, but Fuzz, is there hope here? Or like, what is the best case scenario for you? Or like, what do you think is actually going to happen?
I think
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh, you're frozen.
It's crazy.
He's coming to us live on location from I don't want to say where. Yeah, he's froze. We'll get Pong's thoughts first. Pong.
Yeah, Diddy got him.
Yeah, he's like, I can't have you telling my secret.
Diddy's about to get him. And that's what's going on.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah,
he clipped the Ethernet before he
entered
the building.
Yeah, and he's locking the door right now on Fuzzy.
Yeah. Fuzzy's like, no more baby oil. Get it away.
What do you want my thoughts on Ubisoft?
Yeah. Like, what's the best case scenario? What do you think's gonna happen here, man?
Best case scenario, again, is the family and the leadership's gone. I mean, that's the only way that I think that this helps Ubisoft in any way, shape, or form. I said it in the beginning of the show. I don't know, my camera just unfocused. Anyways, I think it's the only way it helps Ubisoft because, again, if you got the same decision makers that caused this in the first place, what the hell's going to change? Nothing. Again, they've already showed their ineptitude at running one of the world's largest publishers in 2024, or I should say all through this generation. But again, they've had some success, but they've already showed their ineptitude to get things right. They've already run multiple franchises in the ground. They've already had multiple franchises have massive delays and costs associated with them. And Skull and Bones just came out, and now we're getting word that it might cost it between $500 and $800 million to finally get that game out the door. And we have other games that have been in the works for just as long that aren't out the door, right? So if you're not getting rid of the problem, then you're just delaying it further. That's why I said, I don't care who, I said it in the DMs, I don't care who takes over. I don't care if it's Tencent. I don't care if it's EA. I don't care who it is. But the Yves, the family, and that leadership team has to go. And again, it's not going to be pretty no matter what. You guys already touched on it. But that's best case scenario, is that that's all transferred to somebody else. And I don't care who it is right now. I don't think anybody can run it worse than they already have. So for me, it's like, whatever. I just want that to happen. So, and then when it comes to, no matter what, though, what you guys were talking about earlier is true. It is going to be an absolute mess because whoever, and it might still happen, even if this goes through, if they take it private and they don't have the shareholder money behind them anymore, the overhead for Ubisoft is ridiculous. I saw Tom Henderson today. We talked about it last night, Matt, but Tom Henderson today put a percentage on it. He thinks up to 40% cut, trimmed. And again, they're over 20,000.
Yeah.
And so, I just don't think there's any way around it that's going to happen no matter who takes over Ubisoft at this point, because that's part of the issue. It's nice to be self-sustaining. It's nice to not have to go hire, outside studios to come in and support studios like we see all the time right now. But at the same time, when you're working on these projects and that's what you're doing, you're paying these people constantly. These people are on your payroll constantly. It's not going and hiring a bunch of mercenaries and bringing them in for a short period of time and then they're off your payroll again. No, you got these people constantly on payroll, over 20,000. So I just think that something's mass has got to change, obviously. And you and I, spoke on it as far as the Tom Clancy brand goes. I don't know who's the right owner for the Tom Clancy brand. I don't know if Tencent would do any better with the Tom Clancy brand because, and I'm sure Fuzzy will talk about it because Fuzzy was on the same wavelength as me, and he said it in the DMs first when we kind of had this chat. The Tom Clancy brand is American military propaganda. Okay, it's been used that way. We know who Tencent is. Oh, there goes Fuzzy again. They just got him again.
Yeah. I was wondering if he was froze or if he was being really still.
I saw him shake his head a couple times. And then it was
trying to get me too. What the heck is going on?
I know.
He's on that hotel internet. So.
Diddy's wants both of you at the same time. Pause. Anyways, so Tom Clancy has been an American military propaganda IP, and Tencent being a Chinese company. Okay, that's probably not going to continue if they solely have control of the IP. Like, I don't think they're going to turn it into a communist propaganda piece, but they certainly probably aren't going to push it the same way that Ubisoft did at one time. So it'll be interesting, to say the least. I want to see somebody come in, though, but again, without the leadership change, it really doesn't matter. I just don't see Yves all of a sudden having the lights turn on and all of a sudden realizing the decisions he's got to make. I just don't. I see this continuation of the same problems over and over again. And again, if they do this, Mav, and there are massive cuts, that means a lot of projects might be cut too.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's going to be our Splinter Cell reboot. That's going to be stuff that isn't ready, right? They will probably solely focus on their most profitable profitable IP, which is AC, right? Assassin's Creed still. And you'll see a lot less of the other games. I don't know if Division 3 would ever come out if they do this. I mean, I would love to think that they will still do that because I see the potential in it, but you would have to consider that almost every other project is going to be at risk at this point if this goes down this way. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's so crazy to see like how this company can just have such a misuse of talent and resources, right? And that's been the biggest problem. And I talked about this before when there's other layoffs in the industry and all these other kind of things, right? Like the amount of money that these big publishers waste is absolutely fucking mind-blowing to me, right? You have games in development for years that get canceled. You have them kickstarting different random projects all the time that never last much time at all. That they have developing tons of different vertical slices all the time. Then they like go into testing phases internally. Then they'll have things where they actually announce these games because they feel confident enough that they're going to announce them. And then they end up canceling those. And the amount of misuse and waste of money and time is the biggest reason to me why these companies keep getting in this situation. You have an enormous workforce there that if you had a clear vision and a clear direction and know what you want and know what you want them to do and what you want to create and what the gamers are asking for, that is going to be the easy wins, do it. But the money guys get in the way of these things because they think they know better due to market research, focus groups, going and watching or getting feedback from the wrong kinds of gamers and the wrong people. Also, like, hey, we're gonna go to only the streaming community and talk to the streamers and stuff like that, and only about what they think about how is this going to resonate with your audience, if there's gonna be enough people watching your streams, or like, is this going to be engaging for them and all these things. It's like, make games that are compelling, that gamers want to play. And they used to do that. They created these franchises, right? They created these brands around those ideas, around creative-led people like Jade Raymond before, working on something like Assassin's Creed, right? When they got with Crytek and they created Far Cry, and different scenarios all the time, man. Like the whole Clancy brand in general, they actually went and got the Clancy brand because they had an idea that this could be something different in the gaming industry, that we're going to have these strategic, military-based, hardcore kind of shooters, that tactical and stuff that nobody else is making, right? And they filled all of those things doing something that was unique and special in the industry. And now they lost the plot, man. They were always just seeing the other company had success with this, so we're going to make our things that, or we had success with this, so everything else needs to be like that. And it's just led them to this place where everything has to be such a home run that it's not even worth working on unless it can be the next billion-dollar game. And that's the most unfortunate thing for me, and that's where they are right now.
Analysis paralysis, Mav, as this industry's gotten bigger, as things has gotten more expensive, as more money has come into play, a lot of these big publishers, a lot of these devs, we just talked about this again with Moving Avowed, right? Something just like that. You overanalyze a situation. And Ubisoft has been overanalyzing every single one of their freaking games, and you can tell. Again, this is why Beyond Good and Evil is still not out after 9 years of development, right? This is why Skull and Bones took 8 years and nearly up to $750 million of development when, again, they had an easy win just doing the Black Flag, as we talked about last night. Just give us the Black Flag, ship gameplay, and make it a full-fledged multiplayer, and you got yourself a big audience ready to play, because that's all anybody wanted. They were clamoring for it. But no, it's analysis by paralysis, or it's a paralysis by analysis, because of the simple fact is now you do have all the shareholders, because now this is It was always big business, but now it's big business, right? Now we're talking on another level of what this has turned into. So now you got all these other people. You got so many cooks in the kitchen at some of these places at all times. This is why we've seen what happened to EA. This is why we've seen what happened to Ubisoft. This is why we see a lot of this stuff. You got so many cooks in the kitchen, and they all want to taste it, and they all want to tell you their opinion, and they can never decide on one thing about what it should be, when at the end of the day, it's a fucking video game, and it should be a goddamn fun video game, whatever it's going to be. But they all want to add all these other ingredients, mainly monetization and all this other shit first, before they even make the damn game good. And this is what you wind up with. Then you come out with games that don't do very well, and then you're canceling IP, you're canceling franchises, you're closing down studios, you're doing all this shit instead of what you originally started as, which was a video game company making good damn video games. Like you said, Mav, went out, got the Tom Clancy IP, and turned it into a household freaking name. Not by analyzing what was the most popular shit at the time, but introducing stuff with that name attached to the title that was fucking awesome to sit down and buy and play.
Nobody else was making those games.
Nobody. They set themselves apart, bro, and they did it in different genres. They had RTS, right? They had the tactical shooters. They had everything for everybody. But they wouldn't overthink it back then because, again, they weren't worried about the monetization first back then as much as they are now. And that's what changes things. Now you got all these voices and nobody making a decision. And when they make decisions, it's not for the right reasons, and they're not thinking about the fans in any way, shape, or form. And here you go. Now you got bad business. Sorry, I'll let Fuzzy go because I know he's having problems with that hotel internet. So while we got him, we should let him talk.
Well, look at these super chats real quick. Yeah. J-Mac, the $5 says, best case scenario, Microsoft buys Splinter Cell franchise, and whatever happens, happens. Hashtag I'm petty. LOL.
If they were to sell something, if Tencent took over and just said we don't want the Tom Clancy franchise, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. That would be amazing. Then Alvin with the $5 super chat says, like a game of Clue, the Diddler and Fuzzy's hotel room with the baby oil. Oh my gosh. Did you slip in the bathroom on the baby oil, Fuzzy? No? What you got to say? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, when it comes to this whole deal with Tencent, like I said it earlier, they really wanted that Tom Clancy IP. That's maybe it's conspiracy theory time or whatnot, but they really wanted that Tom Clancy IP for various reasons. Like Tencent has a lot of first-person shooters. They've worked on some third-person shooters that they have through a variety of their different studios that they either own outright or that they're partially partnered. They want to use that IP to take some of those mobile games as well as PC and console games and take them to that next level. They feel that Tom Clancy name or the lore behind it will be enough to kind of expand on those games, and then they can monetize them as they've been doing with a lot of the games that they're involved in with skins and whatnot, the usual stuff that people are fine with spending. For me, I just want the Guillemot family to step aside. I don't know if that happens or not. I think Tencent is kind of banking on if they do take it private or whatever, and the Guillemot family still kind of drops the ball and they flounder and they keep on losing value, there's going to probably be a clause where they get bumped out of the picture or they're bought out or whatever the case may be. And the drawback I foresee happening is that a majority of those IPs, like your Assassin's Creed, like your Far Cry, might go on the wayside unless they can figure out how to rebrand them into the Tom Clancy moniker or something. Maybe Watch Dogs might make it because that would feed into a style or genre game that they would probably be able to expand on as well. But I foresee them just kind of focusing on the Tom Clancy stuff, which for us Tom Clancy fans, I think that will be a plus because we'll probably get Tom Clancy game after Tom Clancy game to nausea at that point. Like Division 3 will definitely see the light of day. A Splinter Cell will see the light of day. Sam Fisher will be in his own game and not in the mobile game or in every game but a Splinter Cell game. But the only conspiracy I have with that is because some of the rumors before that with them wanting that Tom Clancy IP is that maybe they can use it for kind of propaganda, and it wouldn't be as much in your face, but it would be a possibility that you would see something like the lore from Homefront. If you've played the Homefront game, you might see some of that kind of storyline mixed into it. Not that that would be over the top or shoved down your throat kind of thing, but you would see maybe a change of the U.S. presence and how it's perceived in some of those games. It might make it where everybody's the enemy, and then you just kind of pick a side kind of thing. But outside of that, I think that would be about the only real difference that you would see on the Tom Clancy side of things. But the other stuff, I think they let slide and either sell off AC or sell off Far Cry or sell off, Watch Dogs or something like that. But I think kind of like what you guys hinted to before, this is, I think, a better option, or Tencent getting involved more thoroughly is a better option than letting the Guillemot family continue to run things as they've been doing, these past, 20 years or however long they've been in this at this point. But I just want to see new ownership or new leadership primarily outside the Guillemot family making the decisions. The monetization that they tend to do, like Pong was saying, they come up with the monetization idea and then try to build a game around it, as opposed to trying to figure out, well, let's make the game make a good player loop, so that way people are going to want to continue playing and possibly reinvest or whatever, and then figure out how to capitalize on that monetization. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just want a good Division 3 out where there's weather effects, use that Snowdrop engine to its fullest, have seasons in it, have a persistent world where you can, have people join your mission without having it be like this, or just make it a seamless, join session kind of thing. I want to see, a Splinter Cell, up-to-date Splinter Cell. I want to see a Ghost Recon, and as long as it's more like Wildlands as opposed to the way Point Break launched. Now, Point Break, I think, down the road, kind of copied some of the things from Wildlands to kind of balance it a bit, but I don't know. I
say Point Break.
Point Break.
That's a great classic old Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves movie there. Loved it.
No, but I just hope at the end of the day, the Guillemot family can find something else to mess up as opposed to Ubisoft. And just step aside.
Yeah.
Let the creatives make more decisions. I mean, you're paying them to do that. Let them do that. Trust them. I mean, yeah, that's it.
It's it's interesting, man. I don't know what's going to happen, but the sad thing is that the developers will end up paying the price for this, and really ultimately it's not their fault that all this, they've had bad leadership and all this turmoil happening and all this kind of stuff. And what the best case scenario for me would be that, well, I want to take some time with that. So I want to say hi to Psycho first. What's up, Psycho?
Hello, how's it going, everybody?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I've been doing well. Working, so I was late. Usually out on Fridays, I'm closing, so I don't get out there until 10. So
yeah,
but I'm here, and I've been listening. So there's a lot of stuff that has been said, and I wanted to jump in. Like, damn it, I'm not home.
No problem, man. I like overall Ubisoft, right? Like, is potentially now looking like it could end up going private with Tencent and the Guillemot family taking complete control, and then figuring out what to do from there. And that almost, I don't know. It's like a catch-22. I don't know if Tencent ends up becoming more of the majority stakeholder at that point in the private company or what, but What do you think is actually going to happen here? Or what's your best case scenario?
I mean, what other best case scenario could there be, really? What other publishers can absorb all the workers that Ubisoft has without like slashing the company in half?
Yeah, there's none really. I
It's
mean, it's
Microsoft would be able to, but they will still, get rid of the redundancy positions and everything. But they can't do that because of the whole the cloud service agreement that they had. So, I really like Tencent could come in and help them, but like Pong said, the Guillemot family needs to go because they've pretty much ruined what brand Ubisoft used to represent, and it used to represent quality, great engagement games, and then now they're just trying to chase that Fortnite dollar, and they're just messing up left and right. And if Tencent comes in and they don't leave, you're just putting a band-aid over the wound. It's still gushing blood because they're going to make poor decisions based on the money men and shareholders. And is it really going to be beneficial? At that point, it's like, I don't know. I would like them to. I would like to see like Sam Fisher and the Splinter Cell franchise. Maybe come over to Xbox and have one of their studios work on it. If they're gonna license it out, help stem the bleeding and help with and then show like this is how you do games, guys. And then maybe they get like, oh, you know what, it worked. Maybe we need to stop chasing that Fortnite money and do what we used to do best and make fun games.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to say.
A lot of these, like, I would love for them to license out, like Splinter Cell and things like that. Like I see some of the comments talking about, but I think what's going to happen is Tencent will go private with Ubisoft. Ubisoft will still have some control for a little bit, and maybe over time, Tencent slowly takes over Ubisoft to the point where finally they're gone. I don't think it will happen immediately. My route is all of them are gone, all the leadership, things like that. But yeah, I just don't see that happening because of how much that family wants to, take control. Because this is not the first time someone has almost taken control of Ubisoft. I'm just thinking historically, Vivendi tried to take over Ubisoft a while ago until Ubisoft.
That was a hostile. Yeah, that was a hostile.
It was a hostile takeover. Ubisoft pretty much fought off that for a bit, and he's like, "Hey, you can't buy stock or anything for Ubisoft for at least 10 years." It's been that long, so they could try again. Vivendi, was it Vivendi? Do you remember all the details of that, Pong?
Original one was Vivendi. That was the first big hostile takeover they fended off. And then there was another one that they were trying to prevent from happening. I don't remember who the second company was, but that's when Tencent got involved with the Guillemot family.
Yeah, it's honestly it's a little frustrating because I think everyone here is a fan of Ubisoft to some degree. Like their impact on the gaming industry has been immense in a lot of ways. Whether it's what they contributed to the stealth genre with Splinter Cell, or what they did with the Ghost Recon series, or Rainbow Six, or there's just so many franchises, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed. Like they have so many amazing IP, and I feel like it's just in the hands of someone who is not carrying that IP with what it could be. It kind of reminds me of the Spider-Man franchise in a lot of ways, and some other things where Sony has the Spider-Man IP. So what do we get? We could give him like Madam Web and these Venom movies and things like that. Awful things. But I do hope that sometime down the line, maybe as they take over Ubisoft, it'll lead to changes in leadership. If what Pong said earlier was true, if it's like 40% of 20,000 employees, that would be like 8,000 people just gone. Just gone as soon as that deal happens. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. I constantly talk about the gaming industry. It's one of the reasons why I got out of the gaming industry is just due to things like that. We're just like, oh, we'll just get rid of a bunch of people. It's just not as secure as I'd like it to be. So I definitely will feel for the people. I feel for the people right now who probably work in there, just like, oh shoot, like what's gonna happen with this deal? It's almost guaranteed. I think that a lot of people are going to be out of there once that goes through. But we'll see what happens production wise. I hope it's not true that like, hey, once we take over, some of the lesser canceled, like Splinter Cell. I kind of hope they do go the fan route of things people have been asking for. Like no one asks. This reminds me of what Naughty Dog did with Factions 2. Like no one asked them to do all this crazy stuff with Factions 2. We just kind of just wanted what was in Factions 1 to be redone. So like with basically their version of Black Flag, like no one asked them to do all that. We just wanted Black Flag with online. Like they keep just not listening to the community, and it keeps biting them because of their the people up at the top who's making all these these decisions for the creative. And that's when you start to get the people that making decisions for creatives to the point where they're like, oh, look at the numbers, look at our market research indicates that this will be more viable in the market and all that. And we've reached this point where we're just like, we don't recognize the Ubisoft that we all grew up with. So I just want a lot of those franchises to either come back or be what we want them to be. Like the stealth genre is pretty much dead right now. There's no market for it. Like they were entering markets that not a lot of people were doing at the time, which is why I like them. And now we're back to the same problem where like, well, now those markets are pretty much gone. There's no stealth game that I could think of coming out this year. Like, can you guys think of one? Like one stealth game?
Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, it has some stealth in it.
Yeah, I guess. Does it really?
Yeah,
it's got quite a bit.
Okay.
People were complaining about the stealth levels. So yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's where.
If you're talking a full-fledged stealth game, there's been a couple smaller games, but nothing.
There's a lot of stealth tactics games. It's kind of a genre, like a PC genre, heavy there.
And there's AA indie games that do full stealth too. But triple A stealth, like all the way through. I'm trying to think if we've had one.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like a AAA kind of stealth game.
Yeah, I don't.
Concord was stealth. It just kind of came and disappeared.
Well, Metal Gear Solid Delta
It was like invisible almost right after launch. Like that was the biggest stealth game ever, actually.
The life of a Concord great, as you would say, man.
Yeah, 2 weeks, about the same lifespan. It's pretty crazy. I want to go through a hypothetical, like a pretty crazy one. Okay, because I touched on this a little bit last night, and I want to expand upon it to go bigger. Right? I was thinking of the Clancy. I was thinking about the Clancy IP and all these other kind of things, and maybe like Amazon could get a couple things there because they already are have the Clancy IP for like the Amazon Prime for like the TV shows and movies and stuff. They already do a lot of Clancy stuff. So I was thinking that could be a good fit for them because they're trying to get more into gaming and all this stuff. But I was trying to think, okay, so what would be the best case scenario, right? Well, Microsoft can't buy Ubisoft. We already know that, right? And even if so, even if they did, I mean, they already are so big that they can't really take too much on, right? They can, especially not 20,000 people and 20,000 employees, and like, yeah, it'd be awesome if they got Splinter Cell, some of the Clancy stuff out of it, because I want Sam Fisher to come home and have some great Xbox games again, right? But where I think that's ship sailed for the most part, right? So I'm looking at it. What are the big players in the gaming industry, or what is the players that might want to be a bigger player in the gaming industry, right? And remember, all this conversation was like, well, who's the real competitors? My Xbox and Microsoft's going over with the next generation and the future of gaming. It's the big tech companies. It's not necessarily these other platform holders. It's kind of what the future is said to hold, right? As things become more either subscription based, more play anywhere you can, when the hardware is less important, when it's more about the services, then you're looking at the other big tech companies getting more involved. Apple makes just about as much money as anybody in gaming, and they don't even have a platform, right? They just have it. Well, they have phones and stuff, but they don't have like a dedicated gaming device that's specifically for gaming or anything like that. They just have their everyday devices, and they sell other people's games on it. They don't make their own games really or anything like that, right? But they're one of the biggest players in gaming. Amazon's gotten more and more involved, right? We saw originally that they had plans. They acquired some studios and they had planned on making some of their own games. Some of that stuff didn't work out. One of the developers they ended up acquiring was Double Helix, the makers of Killer Instinct, right? Then they ended up doing different stuff, and they didn't really understand the gaming industry too much. Then they decided that, hey, we're going to go into cloud gaming and do Luna, right? Then they're like, okay, we're going to go more into publishing now, and we're going to do publishing. They started getting some Korean properties and other properties from the East and moving them over to the West, and then releasing on PC, and they had some pretty good success there. But then they're like, okay, we're going to go even further. We're going to actually publish the next Tomb Raider game, right? And we're going to release it everywhere, right? So then they make a deal with Ubisoft to do the whole cloud thing, to bring Ubisoft games to Prime, which includes also to Luna, which includes also the ABK games and stuff like that, right? So you look at Amazon has been increasingly getting more and more involved with the gaming industry and becoming a bigger player, or trying to. And then I saw this news the other day. Xbox co-founder Jay Allard joins Amazon last month as a vice president of the company's devices and services team. In an email to The Verge, Allard confirmed his new role, but says it's too early to have anything to say about what he'll be working on at Amazon beyond new ideas. Allard will report to former Windows and Surface chief Panay at Amazon, according to GeekWire. Is it Panay? Panay left Microsoft last year after being at the software giant for almost 20 years. Allard spent more than 20 years at Microsoft, co-founding the Xbox division, launching Microsoft's Xbox Live Network, and developing the Xbox 360 console. Allard also oversaw the development of the Zune, Microsoft's iPod competitor. Allard is a platform guy. He is a person that understands building a platform, building an ecosystem. He's been heavily involved with Xbox in the past. One of the guys that we consider one of the forefathers of the Xbox community, and somebody that was Xbox community was very familiar with. So it's not just him that joined Amazon, it's also the other guy. And Jay Allard is joining for the devices and services team. So it looks like to me here, based on some of the moves and the people that they're getting, former Xbox and Microsoft employees and stuff like this, that Amazon is going even bigger into the gaming space, getting people that have experience within this. So you have this company like Ubisoft, right? Amazon already has a relationship with some of the IP. If I look at one company that can actually afford to take on as much of the development prowess that Ubisoft has as possible, it would be a company like Amazon. They got the money for it. The question is, what do they do with it if they get it, right? So maybe Amazon goes bigger into the gaming space, actually creates some other kind of more dedicated hardware, some kind, more services and all these kind of things, and starts saying, hey, we need to make more games. And guess who has a lot of talent that's available actually on the cheap? Companies that are also very talented at making great games that they just need some new direction. So who do who can we go and get to lead this new idea, this new vision? How about maybe somebody like Jay Allard, who did it before with Xbox? For me, that would be the perfect case scenario. But I know for a lot of people like Amazon, we don't want them to get more involved in gaming, all this other kind of stuff. Big bad tech company, big bad or whatever. Hey, I'm all for more competition. I'm all for these companies going and doing more, giving us more games. And if we have another big player out there really putting a lot of irons in the fire, if you say, then for me, that's as a consumer, that's a win. And they've already been involved with gaming, but maybe this is time for them to take that next leap. And if there is if there's a better opportunity out there to acquire a bunch of talent, I don't know if there's a better one than going and getting Ubisoft, but they need to have new direction. If they make that case, if they do that, of course they'll have a lot of trimming the fat, changing things up, and then maybe that's for the betterment of the teams that would come over.
Maybe
But anyway, I'm curious.
like,
Anybody has any?
I'll try again one more time.
Anybody have any thoughts on my crazy hypothetical? Is it too much of a wish that something like that could happen, or I guess is it too impossible? I don't know.
I think it makes the most sense in the current, climate as far as these companies. Like before the whole ABK deal, as much as I hated saying it, I thought Sony would have been the better option. And the reason why is that's when Ubisoft had went from like being worth 15 billion down to like between 4 billion and 7 billion or something along those lines, which was within Sony's, range a lot closer to their range before purchasing Bungie. Because at that point, I think we already knew that they were purchasing Jade Raymond's studio. So it's like, oh, you know what? Hand her, Assassin's Creed back kind of thing. And then you could use the Tom Clancy IP for a SOCOM or something like that. So there's a lot of things that could have fit. And some of their games, like their third person over the shoulder story narrative stuff, kind of fits in with the similar look of a lot of the Ubisoft games to some extent. They would have a good foundation and stuff. So it seemed, as much as I don't want things like The Division or whatever being handled by PlayStation, but it made more sense at the time before old ABK. But looking at the climate now, Amazon being the valuation that they have, like you said, they already have some deals on the table for Tom Clancy IPs as far as TV series or anime or animations and things like that. Because I think they're doing that Splinter Cell animation. So
that one's on I think that one's on Netflix. But they have they did the Without Remorse movie with Michael B. Jordan, which is like a Rainbow Six movie kind of. It's like a prequel kind of to that. Then they also have the whole Jack Ryan series as well. And they actually did deals with Ubisoft in the past. They have like the Ghost Recon, like a short film thing that's on there, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think they even had the Division short as well. But Amazon is probably the best capable financially and overall that wouldn't get hit over the head as hard by the FTC. Like, yes, the FTC would probably balk at it a little bit, but Bezos likes fighting with the FTC, and he takes it as like a personal challenge to just make them look dumber and dumber each time. But overall, I think they would probably be best suited, and they have a good working relationship with, Microsoft to some extent. Yes, they're competitors in the cloud space, but they work together on certain things. Like the most recent thing was the whole, Fallout series and stuff like that. So there's some potential. I think that would be a better suited home, more so than Tencent in the long term or even the short term. Apple, I don't know. Apple is that company that I don't think they really want to get any more involved in gaming unless the price for PlayStation being picked up off of Sony or Sony as a whole comes out at the cheap. So if Sony takes a tumble or takes a financial hit at some point, yeah, then Apple will get involved. But otherwise, they don't. They'd rather keep their hands clean, make that 30% cut off of everybody without having to lift a finger. That's their way, and that'll keep on printing money for them as long as it can. So yeah, your idea I think is best suited and probably spot on. Hopefully that'll be a nice alternative, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know what the odds are. I mean, it's just I was thinking of it and trying to come up with the best case scenario for Ubisoft. Pong, am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy, because obviously there's a reason why they brought Jay on. And like you said, he is a hardware specialist, and he is a proven hardware specialist. Very interesting. I think I saw somebody post something like, where the hell they drag him out of?
Yeah.
Like pretty wild for him to come back in the spotlight with a company like Amazon, unless they have big plans. It could be the beginning stages of him put together a team over at Amazon, a hardware team, specifically to do a handheld or a box or both, maybe for the house. They've got Luna, right? Obviously, we know that.
Mhm.
But maybe it is Amazon's time. Maybe they are looking at what's going on and the direction that the industry's taken. And because they have their own cloud infrastructure, as we've always talked about, with AWS being the main competitor to Azure, that maybe they are now saying, well, now technology is moving far enough. We got all these people with handheld, we got all this cloud gaming going on. We got this AI coming on line now, which is changing things as well. Development is now being talked about up in the cloud. We've got AWS, biggest cloud
One of the
service.
biggest cloud
right.
providers in the world.
And they've seen what the benefits have been for Microsoft to have use Xbox as one of the ways to promote and sell Azure. So, right, they got Luna, but that was cute, but it wasn't like the full-fledged deal, and they really haven't put a whole lot into it as much as you would like to have thought they were going to. So maybe now they are looking at, like I said, where the direction is going. This is their time, and they are now prepping. I'm not saying we're going to hear about new Amazon handheld next year or anything like that, but I think bringing Jay in to set up a team and to start serious work for around the next gen time. When Sony's ready to drop their new one, and Amazon might want to jump into this fray at this point with some type of hardware that has to do strictly with gaming. And if that is the case, Mav, if we're going to assume for a minute that's why they brought Jay back, was to do something like that, then of course they're going to be looking to purchase. They've made these acquisitions here and there. They've obviously dipped their toes into publishing. They've found some success with a couple things in publishing. They also had some failures as well, which is natural. It's going to happen in this industry. So they got their feet wet in publishing and a little bit of development on top of it. But now you got to seriously take them as that player that we always said that they could be at the drop of a hat. If there's another company, it's Apple and it's Amazon that could do this, that could walk into the industry and has the clout and has the bankroll to buy enough to become, something immediately. So yeah, Ubisoft is ripe for the taking. And even if they're not ready out the gate with something, if they could force a buy, which I don't know, if they could come in with it wouldn't be hostile, but if they could come in with just an offer that there's just nobody else wants to match for it, and even Tencent takes it as a profit and walks away, then maybe this is the move, and they just continue to, they put new leadership in, but they let Ubisoft be Ubisoft for the time being until they're ready to jump in, and maybe then they start having some exclusive ready for their hardware or their ecosystem, or at least they come out first in their ecosystem, and that's how they jump in this game with a big big publisher like Ubisoft that has a lot of IP, a lot of value still as far as games go, not as a company, but as games go, they still have a lot of value. Maybe Amazon sees that as a salvation point for them. That would be a really good buy right now, a really good investment for the future.
Yeah,
I think it's crazy.
It's something I would actually like. I mean, I'm just going as far as it's something I would like to see. I
Sure.
mean, also, they could use a lot of the properties and IP that Ubisoft has for their Prime Video service as well.
Got some of that already, right?
Yeah, like you could imagine Assassin's Creed shows and movies. You could do a Prince of Persia stuff. You got you could do like even different stuff with Rayman or like with was the Rabbids, you know, for like more for the kiddie stuff.
Kids,
And
yeah,
you got like Far Cry. You have all the Clancy stuff. I mean, you have so many different things that they could do and utilize the value there.
Transmedia, even more value.
100%, you know. So anyway, what about you, 3-bit?
First off, I think it's I think it's possible, but when I was thinking about
Uh-oh, did he get
like,
him
all the
too?
things
Okay, no, he's
with
back.
like, am I good? Hello?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Is he trying to get me?
Stop
Diddy's
spilling the baby
coming.
oil on your internet.
Yeah.
I am uploading a lot of videos right now. When I just think about other companies that could buy Ubisoft right now, I didn't even think about Amazon possibly being in there, but yeah, it could make sense. We seen the partnerships with like at least their Prime shows with like Michael B. Jordan and things like that. But I mean, yeah, this is definitely possible. I just think what is likely right now is Tencent just kind of just taking over. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's.
I mean, it's true. That's what Tencent wants. So they're talking to the Guillemot family, and like, "Oh, we got you. You know, we got you." And Guillemot family's like, "Oh, we can still be involved. Okay, yeah, let's take some more. Oh, we're gonna take over Ubisoft, so that way it's just us and you. We don't have to worry about all those other pesky people that we have to answer to all the time. Oh, let's just go. You know, we'll save the company together, Tencent." And Tencent's like, "Yeah, let's do this." Right?
Has Tencent like sold like? Have they historically like sold off? I don't know, like I guess different IPs in the past, or are they kind of just harboring most of it right now?
Tencent is more usually like a silent partner in a way, where they kind of let the companies run themselves, and they've kind of had been heavy investors to where they will like own pretty much half a lot of these companies or slightly less than, and then they just make the money, right?
Yeah.
And maybe but they have a lot of influence, obviously, because of this, because there's, you know, when you own that many shares of something, even if you're not the person making the decisions, you have influence over the people that are making the decisions for sure, right? So it's they have a lot of influence in the gaming industry in general right now. But this would be the first time they acquired such a, if this actually happened, right? I think this would be more like a direct, like Tencent's more public facing than they've ever been before, right? As far as like towards the gamers and stuff. I mean, they own like a lot of,
like, maybe that's one of the decisions.
Well, that's the interesting thing here, right? Like, why did they bail out the Guillemot family in the first place, right? Like, what was their motivation there? It was either, like we said before, one of two things. It was either because they smelt blood in the water, right? Or they thought it was a good bet. Bet didn't pay off, if that's what it was, right? So now it's beneficial to them in the opposite way, is if they have more control over the company. But even them, I would be like, what are we gonna do with all these employees, right? Like, so I don't know. Like, a Guillemot family, I don't think can swing the buyout themselves. I'm not sure how their company, how it does, you know. But like Tencent's obviously the money people here, and would we want to see a completely Tencent controlled Ubisoft? I don't know how it'd play out. I think it'd be maybe better than what the situation is now. But if it's still the same as it is now, except the rest of the board and all that other stuff is dissolved or whatever, I'm not sure how that really benefits anybody, not us as gamers and stuff. So I'm trying to look at like somebody else that has some fresh new ideas coming in and trying to get their feet in there and say, hey, let's take control of this company and let's like do something interesting and fun, you know,
Yeah,
and that would be cool for me. But I don't know.
I knew Tencent was huge. Like whenever we're looking at the graph of studios, it's like Tencent is always like one of the largest ones, and then you get Xbox and Sony and things like that. But I was just curious, as you said that, Mav, like Ubisoft, their revenue at least last year was $1.97 billion, and Tencent is 86.16 billion. I know they were that big for some. I mean, I guess I just keep forgetting because they're so hidden. But
Yeah, they're in the back. They're more in the background. I mean, they like a lot of Epic. You know, they're heavy players and a lot of these companies, right? So
yeah, they have some hands in a lot of cookie jars.
Psycho says he's got to run. Shout out to Psycho. Hey, Psycho, you got any final thoughts on any of this before you head out?
Yeah, get rid of the Gilmore family. They suck. And yeah, you guys can find me social media everywhere. And I sorry that I have to bounce. It's
no worries, man. Yeah, I get you.
I gotta open up early, and I'm freaking exhausted. So I do apologize.
Well, thanks for coming and hanging out with us for a little bit.
No problem. It's always a pleasure. Love you guys. You're my family. And Fuzzy, I don't know where you are, but you're probably some kind of convention, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Fuck,
he's at Diddy's going away party.
Diddy's oh shit! Wow. When the lights go low, you better run, bud. All right, chat. Good night. You're awesome, and have a great rest of your show, guys.
Yeah, take it easy,
yeah,
man.
Set them Xboxes.
Hey, guys. Oh, dude, I'm slinging them motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, you're slinging that Call of Duty on Game Pass, and then you got the ads to prove it.
Yes, sir.
All
right, good night, guys.
All right,
all right, guys. Well, we're also, I think we're gonna call it here as well. So, but yeah, this was a fun show tonight, guys. Hopefully, y'all like the new setup and everything for the stream and for the shows. Working on getting everything kind of moved over to this setup for all of the shows. And so you'll see FSP Mondays. You'll have PM in the PM on Thursdays and Xbox Ultimate Fridays. Also, Xbox Ultimate and FSPs are moved to 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. So hope that's not a problem for everybody, but glad we had a lot of people show up today in the chat. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, 3-Bit. Thanks for being here tonight, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bits. I'm on this show and I'm FSP every Monday at 9 Echoes. There's so a couple of people have been DMing me about the episode I had with the creator of My Vampire System. Like they've been asking me all these questions like about My Vampire System. So I do think it would be kind of cool if we start to have some creators and stuff on, people in the industry, some artists and things like that. So I might do another special episode at some point. But for the most part, tune in. Me and Fuzzy always there every Sunday, kicking it, talking about some of the topics that we'll probably talk about here, expand upon it, Ubisoft, all the jam. And yes, thanks for letting me on all the stuff. Everybody in chat, you guys are awesome. Even though you guys threw tomatoes at me during the show, I was dodging it. But no, I appreciate it. Always good to be on the show with Pong as well. Don't always get to do a show with Pong. So, awesome time. Thanks, all.
Thanks, 3-Bit and Fuzzy Belvedere. What about you, man?
Oh, man. It was awesome being on here with you guys tonight. Always love just hanging out with you guys, chatting about games and interacting with the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We greatly appreciate it. And for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. Catch me, Pong, and PTK Blam tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night for the Shop Podcast on PTK's channel. And then me and 3-Bit Sunday for Pixelated Echoes at 8:30 p.m. on Sunday Eastern Standard Time. And then Xbox Lunch Break Special, Double Barrel Gaming, 12 noon on Monday on Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick Monday. And then later that evening, FSP right back here, same channel, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks again.
Thanks, Fuzz. And Nate Dogg says Xbox is a disaster and it's all 3-Bit's fault. Says Jason Schreier, which you can find all about in Jason Schreier's new book called Blame 3-Bit. It's coming out everywhere next year, and he'll be doing a book tour and all that kind of stuff. And we'll learn how 3-Bit has single-handedly infested the minds of all the executives in the gaming industry and caused all the layoffs, all the delays. He is responsible when he was at Ubisoft for actually causing a lot of the stuff and a lot of the problems that they had that led them to the point that they are now. So Jason Schreier had the scoop, and we'll find out about it. I can't wait. That's the one book I'll buy.
I didn't know that no one needs Splinter Cell, you know, and like Halo, you know, all the things Xbox.
You sound like Eves right now. I mean, you might as well be Eves.
We need to make Halo and all right, next Splinter Cell, let's go back in the past. He goes to high school. We go and he's starting to write in his diary and how he became a spy. We need to make it more relatable. And that's my pitch for Splinter Cell. Let's do it. Yeah.
So like Life is Strange, Splinter Cell?
Yeah. Like how it'll be the origins of how he became the Fisher.
Sam Fisher, the early years.
The early years. Look, Pong's gonna love it. He's already he's on board. He told me he's gonna love the idea. So.
Yeah. Watch Sam's early days as a spy as he sneaks into the teacher's desk to try and get the answers for the test on Friday.
Yeah. Oh, so basically, now he's making a bully. Yeah. He doesn't get bullied too. Now he's just going to turn Sam Fisher into a bully.
Got to start somewhere.
That's what we're going to do. Splinter Cell, bully. That's what's going to be. That's going to be great.
Yeah. Let's go.
Terrible ideas. Now you guys see why everything is his fault. This is what he does. This is what he was doing when he was working on Fable, guys. See, when he was at Playground, these are the ideas he was telling them. Oh, we should turn this into a bully game. That's what we should do. This should be a total bully game. Do that.
It's a great idea.
Screwed it all up, and that's why they had to delay it, because he was actually coding bully shit into Fable, and they had to go back and scrub it. And that's why he got fired.
That's why he's doing
commercials now.
What they don't know is what he told us back when the Splinter Cell game didn't actually show up, and we all thought it was going to. Is that when he was there at Ubisoft and he saw the Splinter Cell game, he was like, he had to stand up and raise his hand and says, "I have a question, everybody. Where's all the monetization?" And at that point, they all looked at each other and be like, "You're right. What are we going to do about this?" And then the game just went to the ether.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my bad.
How are we going to make money on this? That's what 3-Bit ran around with. He's like, guys, wait, where's the money? Where's the money coming from?
It was just a question.
He was like,
it was just a question.
He was like, I think instead you guys should take all the Clancy IP and put them all together in an X Games environment and turn it into a first-person shooter free to play to compete with Call of Duty.
That was definitely his idea.
Let's go. That was my first idea. Actually,
let's put graffiti in a warehouse.
Genius.
And stand up in front and in the warehouse to announce it. It'd be awesome. And
Fuzzy, you didn't know, but it was also 3-Bit's idea to take snow out of the Division 2. So just not have winter. That was also
we didn't need it.
Took up too much resources, he said.
I think it's too long.
Yeah.
Where's those tomatoes?
Also, ray tracing was 3-Bit's idea.
No, that one, it was a joke, but they did it. They did it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's turn Watch Dogs into an open world multiplayer game. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Guys. It'd be great.
Great.
Have everybody wear costumes. It'd be cool. It'd be great.
Make it a division.
It'll make our company parties more fun. We'll all cosplay.
Freeze frame. End credits. Let's go.
3-bit's also why we still have Just Dance as well. Continue.
3-bit also invented the cubicle crawl. Everybody.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I forgot about that one. That was a good one. That was one of my favorites, actually, of all the things.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Anyway,
he was at Activision too.
He was at some kind of he was at some kind of Bad Boy Records party supposedly, and then he got the idea there. This is what everybody said.
That is definitely a Diddy idea. Okay.
Pong Soul, where can everybody find you?
This has been fun, brothers. This was a good night to end the week on. I love it. Again, 3-bit. It's great always to have you on, sir, whenever we can. And obviously, Fuzzy, great to have you from wherever you're at in the world. Where in the world is Fuzzy Belvedere? That's what we do now. So this is going to be awesome, but great to talk to you both. And obviously, Mav having another show with you. And thanks, Psycho, for jumping in real quick, too, brother, and stopping by and saying hi. First of all, F Sony and your increasing prices. I did pick up Zero Dawn for $12 at a key shop. So F you. You're not getting your full price game. So whatever. And I'll play it the old way if I have to. I don't care. So, yeah, everybody, listen. You guys know the drill by now. Tomorrow, you already got to have your alarm set because Steele and I will be going live in about 11 hours. Well, even less than that now at this point. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Living split screen. The Splitters hype train rolls out at Mach 2.0. Come on board. We got plenty of room for you. We're going to go 3+ hours. Buckle up and get ready. Steele and I are going to have some discussions. If you've been hanging out with us over the past month, you've heard some interesting conversations over on Living Split Screen that you won't hear, I don't think, on any other of the shows in the community sometimes. Because Steele and I will deep dive some topics that nobody else will touch. And a lot of it's driven by our chat as well. So we have a great chat. So if you haven't checked this out yet, please drop on in there. Living Split Screen. Split Screen's all one word. And obviously, if you follow me on Twitter, you can find it. Otherwise, tomorrow night, it will be PTK Blam's channel. It is the Shop Podcast, the best way to end your Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Be there for that. It's PTK. It's Fuzzy. It's myself. We don't have any guests announced yet this week, but normally one or two will roll through when PTK throws up the bat signal. But it's just a chill way, 2 hours. It's almost always 2 hours because that's how PTK runs it. So be there tomorrow night. Have us on in the background while you're playing some games. Next week, it starts all over again. Tuesday, Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Boomstick is the man. All good things green on Tuesdays for Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Join the crew there, and then my week starts right here on PM in the PM. Pong and Mav on in the PM. Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. If you didn't join us last night, go check out the show. We had a great conversation about a lot of this stuff. Had some really cool deep dives on some of the other things that are happening too. Some unexpected conversations that went a little bit even longer than I thought they were going to, but that's what's awesome about Thursday nights. So see you next week. It is the golden age of gaming, people. Please get out there, enjoy whatever it is that you got, or 5 or 10 things that you've got going on right now. Play what you love what you play. And I'm going to talk to you all real soon. Matt, get us out of here, brother.
Have a fantastic night, everybody. Peace out.